Okay, so let's do number 4 of Quiz Access, Chapter 3. This is about adjusting and paying accrued expenses. Now, this one we're definitely going to need Excel. The 3 separate situations require adjusting journal entries to prepare financial statements. For each situation, present both the April 30th adjusting entry and the subsequent entry during May to record payment of the accrued expenses. Okay. So let's do let's do reference, account, debit, and credit. Let's make these, I guess I could just have a standard one of these, couldn't I? And that way I don't have to recreate them every time, but that would be too easy. Okay, so reference A. On April 1st, the company hired an attorney for a flat monthly fee of $1,500. Payment for April legal services was made by the company on May 12th. Okay, so we have 2 entries. We'll call this A1. Okay, and then we'll do A2. A2. And the first one is going to be to accrue the expense. So we're going to do legal expense. And let's do that for 1,500. And it's going to go to probably I don't know, I'm not sure what they're going to call it, but so I'm just going to call it accrued expenses. Okay, and we're just going to do 1,500. Now it may be called accrued legal expenses or legal expenses accrued. We don't know yet. We'll find out when we find a description. Then when we go to pay it, we're going to debit accrued expenses, right? For the 1,500. Oops. For the 1,500, and it's going to come out of cash. More than likely. This could also be accounts payable too, which, you know, is a form of accrued expenses. Okay, so we'll just play it by ear on that one. Oops, 1500. Okay, that's that one. And if we wanted to, you know, payment of legal. And we can make that like that. And do a little italic there. Yes, Control I is italicizing it. Okay, now B, probably B1 and B2, right? B1. As of April 30th, 2,222 of interest expense has accrued on a note payable. The full interest payment of 6,665 on the note is due on May 20th. Okay, so first we're going to accrue that expense. So we're going to have an interest expense of 2,222, and we'll just call this accrued interest. 2,222, and this is the accrue interest expense. Now on B2, we're going to reverse out that, well, not only that, but more. So we're going to do accrued interest, and it's going to be for the 6,665 because it was paid in May, and it's going to be cash. 6,665. Okay, payment of accrued. Oh my goodness. Interest. Okay. There you go. And then C1, total weekly salaries expense for all employees is $9,000. This amount is paid at the end of the Friday of the day on Friday of each 5-day work week. Oh, this is complicated. April 30th falls on a Tuesday, which means that the employees had worked 2 days since the last payday. The next payday is May 3rd. Okay, so we're going to do these, we're going to calculate these and then just kind of figure it out. Okay, so weekly comp is $9,000. That means that days, there's 5 days in that, and comp per day. Sorry, I'm using comp. I should probably use salaries. Keep weekly salaries. Keep everything in line. Okay, so plus 9,000 divided by 5. That's the compensation salaries per day. That's the compensation per day. So we know that 2 days. 2 days in month are 2. So accrued payroll or accrued salaries is the salaries per day times 2. Okay. So now we can come up here and we can do salaries expense for 3,600 and salaries payable for 3,600. All right. That looks right. And then C2 is going to be to pay everything on May 3rd, and which I probably should have some dates on here. Insert date. This first one was 4/1, and that was 5/12. Interest expenses for 30. Oh, but we're doing these on the end of the month, so 4/30. Accrued, this is still 4/30, but then oops, actually the payment was on 5/20. This is 4/30, and then the payment is going to be on 5/3, right? Weekly salaries expense, this amount is paid at the end of the day on Friday of each. Okay, yeah. So now this is going to be for the full amount, and this is going to be, really a combination of 2 things. This one's a little tricky, right? Because they haven't accrued anything so far for the other 3 days. So we're first going to do salaries expense for the days that haven't been paid yet or haven't been accrued, which is really the weekly salaries minus what we've accrued. And then we're going to do salaries payable. We're going to clear that out for what we did accrue, which is the 3,600. And then we have cash. And that's going to be for the sum. And it should equal $9,000. Okay, so those are our entries. Do not round intermediate calculations. Not exactly sure what that means, but that's all right. Okay, so on this first one, flat fee, let's see if they have legal expense. Legal services expense. Okay, there we go. Now we know what they're going to do. 1,500, and this is legal services payable for 1,500. Okay, that's the first one. Then on May 12th, which is going to be, this was legal services payable for 1,500, and then cash for 1,500. Okay, that's the first set of transactions. The next one is going to be interest expense for 2,222, and accrued. Let's go interest payable. There we go, for 2,222. And then when we pay it, it's going to be accrued interest, so interest payable for 6665 and interest, no, this is cash. Cash for 6665. Right? And then this next one is salaries expense for 3,600 and salaries payable for 3,600. And then lastly, salaries expense for 5,400, salaries payable for 3,600, and then cash for 9,000. Okay, let's see if I got it right. Cross your fingers. I didn't. Let's see what I got wrong first before I go doing things again. Okay. Okay. I got a couple things. Oh, okay. This one I should have done salaries payable. So I messed that one up. And this one I got the amount wrong. And account wrong. I might have gotten a couple of things wrong here. So we'll have to double check this one. The amount's definitely wrong for some reason. Okay, so let's return to the question. We know that the last one is easy. That's, let's go to this one. I know that this one, instead of expenses, should be salaries payable. Okay, we know that one. So then we have to go back to this one and figure out what we did wrong. What I did wrong. Okay, so 4. Huh. Maybe it's the same. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Interest payable. Oh, okay, same thing. My bad. Yes, my bad. This is very similar to what we did here for the salaries expense, and I just it didn't click. Now it's clicking. All right, so we have to do a very similar thing here, but it'll be a little easier. So this one we have 3 items, right? We have the interest expense for the difference between equals 6665 minus 2222. And we have the interest payable for the difference plus 6665 minus 4443. And then we should have cash for the full amount. Let's see if that works. Oops, let's make this over here. There we go. So let's redo this. Interest expense 4443. Interest payable. Oops. Payable for 2222, and then cash for 6665. Okay, let's see if I figured that out or not. It looks like I got it right. There we go. All is good. Okay, that is number 4.